This is Grant Arthur with Grant's Rock Warehouse, and today, you guessed it, we have another episode with Ryan Gavalier from Ryan's Vinyl Destination, and today we're going to talk again, Cheap Trick. We're going to talk Heaven Tonight and Dream Police. So let me get out of this, and there he is. Ryan, how are you?
Good. How you doing?
Well, I'm doing pretty good. Nice to see you.
Good to see you too.
Get some graphics up here. So last time we talked about the first album, Cheap Trick, and In Color, which we both found to be pretty much perfect records, 5 stars. We really couldn't discuss anything, or we didn't really find anything really too critical to critique. I mean, I don't know. Classic.
What did I give In Color? Yeah, what did I give In Color? Like a 4.5, something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I gave them both 5s. Well, you gave the first album 5, right?
Yes, I did. It's one of my favorite albums of all time.
Well, there you go. Well, today we're looking at Heaven Tonight and Dream Police. For the most part, of course, Heaven Tonight is another one of those records that just absolutely gets stellar reviews. Rolling Stone Record Guide back in the day gave it a 4-star. And then Dream Police, they only gave it a 3-star. But let's start out with Heaven Tonight, and I'm just going to turn it over to you and give me your thoughts on that. You know, we'll just have a general discussion like we normally do.
All right. Oh, well, thank you, Grant. I'm glad to be here again. Talking some Cheap Trick. You can never. It all comes back to Cheap Trick.
It all comes back to Cheap Trick or Wasp, depending on what show. But it all comes back to Cheap Trick here.
Definitely. And I mentioned last episode that that the first record is one of my favorites, and this one's also one of my favorite albums of all time. I think of the albums we've talked about so far, this one's about tied for me with the first album as my favorite Cheap Trick. It could get the edge as my favorite Cheap Trick album though, because it does have my favorite Cheap Trick song of all time, which we'll get to in a little bit. But I think that this album is really where Tom Werman comes into a perfect chemistry with the band. And I think that he did a pretty good job on In Color. I don't think that it matched up quite perfectly compared to the first album, but this one here, it's flawless.
It's flawless.
Production from Tom Werman. This one seals the deal that Tom Werman's a god as a producer, because what he does with Cheap Trick on this album is mesmerizing. And on top of that, the band sounds super heavy on this record. There's some good poppy stuff on it, but there's really some heavy stuff. This is some of the heaviest Cheap Trick we're ever going to hear. Yeah. I think they definitely have a real nice cross between punk and like 70s heavy metal here, along with power pop as well. And all the songs from top to bottom are just perfect on this album. It's an easy 10 out of 10, this record.
Again.
But, we start off with Surrender, which is obviously the biggest song on this album. It's one that, even if you're not really a big Cheap Trick fan, you've probably heard Surrender. Classic riff there. A great Robin Zander vocal performance with a lot of really funny lyrics in this one. They don't necessarily hold up perfectly well in 2022, but it's still a great lyric, this song. It's funny. It's kind of I guess you could say ironic at times, kind of crass. It's really funny. And it's just such a catchy pop song, dude.
He might very well be sponsored by the Stones, Davey. He very well may be.
I am I am sponsored by the Stones. But I love this song so much. It's a fantastic opener. It was one of the first Cheap Trick songs I ever heard watching a movie back in 2003 called Daddy Daycare. I was like, "Ooh, what's this song?" And yeah, I mean, from there on, I heard the actual Cheap Trick version, fell in love with that because the original, the version on Daddy Daycare is sung by like Jeff Garland or something like that. I don't remember,
Maybe.
but it's goofy.
I don't know if I even really
Yeah.
saw that. Maybe I don't want to see that. I don't know.
I don't know how good of a movie it is. I watched it when I was like 6 and I thought it was hilarious. I don't know if I'd find it funny now. That's where we're gonna leave it. But yeah, great song there and classic. And then On Top of the World is another great one. Really rocking song there. This album has so many great melodic riffs from Rick Nielsen on the guitar.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get to some of them later, but just so many throughout this album. And California Man's another great one. That's one of the more power poppy songs on here. And I really dig that one a lot. But High Roller. Love High Roller. It's one of my favorite Cheap Trick tracks. Great riff on this song. It's super heavy and rocking. Kind of a slower riff too. It's not as fast as some of the other tracks on this album. And god damn it, does the production sound good on this track. The guitar sound that Tom Werman gets from Rick Nielsen on here, and the bass tone, everything just sounds top notch on this track.
That's funny you should say that, because even though, we've heard Martin critique Tom Werman, blah, 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 but the thing with Tom Werman, if you've seen Cheap Trick live, he's captured Rick Nielsen's guitar tone on this record, or any of these Tom Werman productions. You're pretty much getting the live. I know it maybe sound a little bit, how do I want to put it? You're kind of getting the live sound of the band, but you're also getting like strings and keyboards and stuff. But this is Rick Nielsen's guitar sound straight out of the box. After they jumped ship with Werman, went to George Martin. George Martin still was able to capture Rick Nielsen's sound. After that, Rick Nielsen never sounded like Rick Nielsen again. But this is my whole argument, that these albums, the Tom Werman albums, this sounds like Cheap Trick to me. And when I hear Cheap Trick, this is what I identify them with. Not with Todd Rundgren's production. Todd Rundgren makes them sound like Todd Rundgren, and all those 80s albums, they totally, I don't know. That's on a different show.
Yeah. I think Jack and Tom got the Cheap Trick sound.
Right.
And they both perfected it. And I mean, you get like on this track and then on Off Wiedersehen, which is another one of my all-time favorite Cheap Trick songs. This album is like the greatest hits of Cheap Trick, basically.
It is.
I fucking love this album. Off Wiedersehen is,
my goodness.
It's, oh my gosh, like it's a really dark song, but kind of humorous as well. It's about suicide. With the like million different ways they're saying goodbye in this song. Sayonara, Auf Wiedersehen. I mean, the title is German for goodbye. It's just about suicide. I mean, some commentators say they're making fun of suicide. Some people saying it's an anti-suicide song. Some are saying it's fun, making suicide sound fun. Like, it's all over the place. There's a lot of ambiguity with the song, but great riffs, an excellent vocal from Robin on here. Great drum sound again too. I mean, the production on this album is just so good.
Exactly.
I mean, for me, like, Tom is a mixed bag when it comes to other bands, but he nailed it with Cheap Trick.
He knew what to do with this band. There's a reason that these albums are their go-to records. I mean, they captured the band perfectly. Did Rick Nielsen still have a lot of great songs still in the arsenal? Well, yeah. Did he start running out of songs? Well, you could say that. But you also could say, like, the production could have killed him. Like, I've used this example before. We're not on Standing on the Edge yet, but
Yeah.
you get that epic, that CD, I've thrown it out before, that epic, what is it, the Epic Years, whatever. There's 3 different CDs on Real Gone Records. And it's got the original Jack Douglas mix of Little Sister on it. Before it was all futzed with by, what was that guy's name? Oh, damn. Well, we're live. I can't remember. But the original Jack Douglas mix sounds wonderful. It's got real drums on it. Doesn't have fake drums. It sounds like Cheap Trick. Because the whole goal with Standing on the Edge was to go backwards and capture the magic they captured on the first album. Tony Platt, that's who it was. Because at that time, Jack Douglas got pulled because of the Yoko Ono thing. Because they were in some kind of lawsuit. So he didn't get to finish mixing it. They brought in Tony Platt, which ruined it. And but I recommend anybody to go find those epic, I can't remember. I should have pulled it. I didn't know I was going to talk about it. But those 3 epic CDs, there's volume 1, 2, and 3, which are unbelievably great. But listen to that version of Little Sister on there. I mean, I know there's a great album on Standing on the Edge if you could just get through all the crap, that the bad production, you know? Just saying.
Yeah.
So there, see, I went on a tangent,
No,
Ryan.
sure.
Went on a tangent.
No, it's all right. And yeah, so like Taking Me Back is another great track on here. Like I said, everything on this is amazing.
Yes.
On the Radio is one of the coolest Rick Nielsen riffs on here. That
Yes.
like very melodic, like I was talking about before. And the guitar sound is so great on that.
Oh God, yes.
My favorite Cheap Trick song, at least as of now, is Heaven Tonight. The title
Holy
track on
mackerel.
this album. The second song on this album about death. So this is a dark album.
Right.
Is it about suicide? Maybe. But Rick Nielsen says it's about drug use and dying from drugs. And you could definitely feel it in this song. You have those cool little harpsichords and stuff that on the riff, and you have a great bass sound. The low end is huge on this. And that's another thing about Tom Werman. His bass sounds are fantastic on the records. Even on In Color, the bass sound is top notch.
Mm-hmm.
But I love this song. It's one of my favorite. It is my favorite Robin Zander vocal performance.
Oh,
he kind of does this really like psychedelic kind of John Lennon type of vocal performance, but it's so haunting and eerie and creepy. And it's just, this whole song is a masterpiece. The way it's arranged, the riff, the production on it, the actual songwriting, the vocals, everything. It's just, that song alone is a big reason why this is one of my favorite albums, because I think that all the tracks on here are amazing, but that was the track that when I first heard it, I was like, whoa, this is like a whole other level for Cheap Trick. You know, you have a lot of this album just sounds like other Cheap Trick. Like, it really doesn't break away too much. Like the riffs, you can have that kind of like Who type of sound, power pop and stuff, but then you get to this song and it's like psychedelia from hell. It's like, what is this? You know, it's stunning to me, and it's such an amazing song. I love it so much. And then Stiff Competition's another really heavy song. I love that one so much. And it's kind of cool. I mean, I think it's kind of about the music business, probably, like other competitors they have at the time and stuff. But really rocking riffs there, great vocals again. And then How Are You is a really cool song too. That one is another that kind of has a Beatles kind of feel to it.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I think Cheap Trick does the Beatles really well. Like when they try to have that type of sound. Mm-hmm. I mean, they have we were talking about earlier, they sound like a ton of different British invasion bands throughout their career, but I think when they do the Beatles, they really come into their own.
That and the Move, they really sound like the Move to me.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so I mean, I love that song. It's really cool, quirky. God,
jeez,
Heaven Tonight. When you put this album on, you're in heaven tonight. Like, it's so good.
Wow. I guess you're gonna give this. I guess you're gonna give this a 5-star or 10 out of 10.
Yeah, it's a 10 out of 10. It is better than the first album. I'm gonna be honest. Like,
well,
as much as I adore Jack Douglas and as much as I adore that album, it's another one of my favorites of all time. I do think that this album has stronger songs all the way through.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that this album is better sonically than the first record, even though the first one's a masterpiece sonically. I think you really hear these guys. I think you hear these guys still sounding raw, but a little more polished than on the first album, but still so raw and huge guitar sounds, huge bass, huge drums, and just everything is perfect. And like I said, Heaven Tonight, best Cheap Trick song. I love it so much.
I can't argue with any of that. I'm going to raise the peace goblet to you.
I'm going to raise nothing. Or actually, here, I'll raise my hydro flask.
There you go. To you, the peace goblet, hydro flask. So that is
10 out of 10. This album is perfect.
Wow, I didn't know you'd be so into it. Wow, holy mackerel!
Yeah, it's so great. This is the one that really. The first album turned me into a Cheap Trick fan, and then this one made me like, Jesus, God, this is so good. Like,
let's look at some comments they're building up. Ryan never used to swear on videos. Yeah, Ryan, what happened to you? You've just sworn like crazy. You must be feeling it. I know.
I only said like 2 words.
Hey, it's Davey's fault.
Yeah.
Ernesto, hey Ernesto, how are you tonight? Cheap Trick is what the Foo Fighters wish they sounded like. Oh.
I like the Foo Fighters. They're a good band.
I like the first 2 Foo Fighters records.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Yeah. I'm sure they have other good records, but evidently. Well, I could see. Well, you know that Dave Grohl's into the Cheap Trick. God, how can you not tell that, you know? Davey, Tom produced some cool stuff. Blackout in the Red Room, Molly Hatchet, and fucking Mirrors by BOC. Yeah, well, you're right.
Definitely.
Heaven Tonight is like evil Moby Grape. I'm trying to figure how you're getting that. Evil Moby Grape. All right, I'm going with it. All right. How are you? Almost sounds like it should have been on In Color. Yeah, I think they could have put Lookout on here instead of recording it for the first album and not using it until the bonus tracks on the reissue. I think you could have put Lookout on here. If you got On Top of the World on here, you could put Lookout on here. $10. Yes, exactly. Wow. Well, Ryan, holy crap, you've given this such a good review. I don't know what else to say. But like you remember, this is the this is the second album Tom Worman produced. This is the third album. Came out in 1978. But, you know, like you said, you've given this such a great review. Rolling Stone Record Guide only gave this 4 stars. I disagree. This is a 5-star record, 10-star record. It's aged well. It sounds great. It's a classic. The songwriting's top-notch. I love the production of it. Like I said, if I'm listening to this Cheap Trick, this is what I want my Cheap Trick to sound like. To me, in my head, this is what Cheap Trick sounds like. But the songwriting's there. This is also the first album that the 12-string bass ever made an appearance. Let's not forget that.
You can hear it. You can hear it.
But I'll tell you, when Tom Peterson was playing his Thunderbird bass, we should get this out so we can show people too. I don't know who ever saw it, but there you go. Tom Peterson and Another Language. There's Tom and his hairdo. But he played a Thunderbird on In Color, and they did a damn good job making it sound big, and you know how big that Thunderbird sounds. Well, this sounds big too, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But if you didn't know, you would have thought that. Well, I wouldn't have known it was a 12-string, to be quite honest. But it's big. You know, that's the thing with Tom Peterson's bass sound. It's so big, it almost sounds like a guitar. You know, the way he's got his rig set up. So, what can I say? Of course, you know, the album cover. This continues that whole thing where the two good-looking guys are on the front and the ugly guys are on the back, which is
and
fun.
what a great shot that is.
It's a great shot.
It's so memorable. You know, I think that it's probably the most memorable of their album covers for me personally. I think that the clothes that they're wearing fits really well with the background behind them.
Yeah.
Their hairs are kind of messy. They're both like, you know, it's just such a cool album.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, if you look at the reviews are all 5 stars. Rolling Stone, you know, like I said, gave it 4. Village Voices B+. All Music. Again, if this is my favorite Cheap Trick album on the planet, I can't critique. There you go. We need that. I wish I could critique it. It's not going to be until we start getting in the later records where we're really going to have, you know, 2 women on the front. Yeah. Mm-hmm. No Bunny. Well, there's Bunny on there.
He's on the back.
He's on the back. See? They're there. They didn't want to put those guys out on the front. Come on. It's all about marketing.
I wouldn't either.
No. But the track selection's perfect. You know. Rolling Stone incorrect. Man, who would have known? Well, we're talking Rolling Stone record guy from back in the day. That's what they gave it. I think this record's aged a lot better, and it's more well thought of than what probably was at the time. When this came out, it didn't sell until Budokan came out, you know. Then they started to sell their back catalog more, but I don't think this really did anything. It might have been a minor. I don't know. What did this finally go to? Charts. It got to 48 on the U.S. Billboard 200, and it did fared better in France and in Canada. And the Billboard Hot 100, Surrender was the single, and it got to 62. And it did go platinum in 1995. It went gold in 1979, probably during Dream Police and all that, and it did go platinum in 1995. So it took a while. That's right, Dave. They have to talk shit for decades. Yes. But that's all right. We're just using this as a frame of reference.
Yeah, they're just morons. It's okay.
That's right. It doesn't matter. We'll get a kick out of it. So anyway, I give this a 10 out of 10, a 5 out of 5. You give it a 10 out of 10, 5 out of 5. There's no flaws on this. If you don't know this record, for crying out loud, stream it or listen to it. It's a power pop masterpiece. Would you agree? Yes. Power pop masterpiece.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's one of the best. I mean, you know, I think when I think of power pop, I'm like, is there really any point where it gets better for me? I don't know about that.
I don't know.
I love a lot of power pop out there, but this album takes the genre to a whole other level, honestly.
Yeah, I agree.
As did the first one and the second one, honestly. Like, and the one we're about to talk about. Like, shit.
We're going to go to that now. So now we're going to look at Dream Police. And of course, Dream Police came out in 79. They had recorded this after Heaven Tonight, but Live of Budokan took off and they started to import it. And, well, I don't know, maybe a year, Epic shelved Dream Police and sold, they ended up putting out Budokan domestically, and then that took off and that was a big hit. So this kind of sat around for a while, which is fine. But this finally came out in September of 79. So I think it sat there for a month. It ended up going number 6 on the Billboard 200 chart, and it went platinum within a few months of its release. If I know better, I think this record's their best-selling record that they ever put out. It might have sold more than Budokan, possibly. But here, Rolling Stone Record Guy gave it 3 stars. All Music gave it 4.5. Robert Christgau gave it a B-. Me personally, well, I'm going to let you talk about it first. But why don't you just take, Ryan, you just take it. I gave it an intro. You go ahead and go for it. What are your thoughts on this record?
So, first of all, I have to say, I actually did not listen to this album right away as I was getting into Cheap Trick for one reason. This is one of the worst album covers. Looks so stupid, and I expected the music to sound just about the same. So it's so bad. Like, you go from this, which is a really great shot of the band, to this, where it looks like they've completely jumped the shark. So I've never liked this album.
Well, that's okay. But
the actual music itself on this album is wonderful. Is it as good as Heaven Tonight for me? No. Is it as good as the first album? No. Is it better than In Color? Possibly. I think so. I think it sounds better. I think that it has some really classic songs on it. And, you hear the band sounding really heavy once again, but also kind of getting into some more power poppy type of feels too. You have some good keyboard sounds throughout on this. I don't know. I think it's a really solid album. I mean, it starts with Dream Police, which is a classic. Yeah. I've always liked the song. I have to lie. I didn't like the song when I first heard it, because I was kind of really liking heavy Cheap Trick, and then I heard this, and it was a lot poppier. I was like, I don't know. But over time, it's really grown on me, and it's an absolute classic. I mean, it's power pop at its finest. You have a really great melody there, great keyboard sounds or whatever that is, great guitar.
Yeah.
It's a classic song. I mean, I can't really say much more about it except it's a classic. And Rick wrote that one. Way of the World's a cool track. House is Rockin's awesome. That's a really, it's
pretty heavy.
It stands true to its title. It's a great rockin' song. It's got a heavy guitar tone on it. Mm-hmm. Great vocals once again. Gonna Raise Hell is awesome. It's long.
Yeah, it's 9 minutes and 20
minutes. But the bass riff is so groovy on it. It's got a really great atmosphere to it. It's kind of heavy, but it's kind of menacing and slower. I always really enjoyed that song a lot. I'll Be With You Tonight's pretty cool. Voices is absolutely gorgeous. I really like it when Cheap Trick slows it down, honestly. I mean, it's cool when they're doing their like fast Who type of shit too, right. But when they really slow it down and build an atmosphere, it's impeccable. And this one's awesome. I mean, the chorus on this is so beautiful. Like I was saying to, and they start the song with the chorus as well. That's the first vocals you hear on the album is the chorus. I mean, on the song is the chorus. And I texted you, I was like, this sounds a lot like ELO. And I really do feel that way. I mean, he kind of channels like a Jeff Lynne type of voice.
Mm-hmm.
And you were talking
yeah, I can see that on here. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a gorgeous song. It's really well arranged.
Roy Wood, it's very move-esque.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I think it's a beautiful song. It's really well arranged. It's got a great chorus, like I said, great verses. Just overall great song. Then Writing on the Wall is cool. When you hear that opening to it, you're like, am I about to listen to a cover of Helter Skelter? Because there's that but then it goes into the actual song. It's a cool song. It rocks really hard. Great riffs on there as well. I Know What I Want, another classic. And then we slow it down again for Need Your Love, which is such an awesome track.
It's a great track.
I absolutely love Need Your Love. That's probably my top 5 Cheap Trick songs as well. Yeah. It's slow again. Most of my favorite songs by this band are the slow ones because I think they just excel there. I really love what Robin does with his voice when he's doing these slower songs. He kind of gets into that nasalier Beatles type of voice. Yeah. And I love when he sounds like that much more than when he's doing the Roger Daltrey shit.
Right.
Because I love it. Don't get me wrong. It still sounds great. But I've always been a much bigger fan of the voice of the Beatles than I have been of Roger Daltrey at any point. Wow. That's just a preference thing, though. Mm-hmm. Like
I get it.
So when it comes to a band who's kind of channeling the British invasion, I like when they're doing kind of the more Beatles type of vocals. Mm-hmm. And he does that a little bit here. Yeah, great track. It's another long one, but there's a lot of cool, slow, drony riffs on this one. Great drum sound on this track. It actually starts off with drums, which is really cool. Yeah, great tune. And this whole album is awesome. I mean, the production sounds great again. I think it's the last time we're going to hear their production sound quite this good, even though it is solid on All Shook Up as well. But this is, for me, kind of the end of an era right here.
Oh, yeah.
Where you hear Cheap Trick at their peak. And I can't say they ever quite came back to that peak sound again. I'm not saying there isn't a lot of really great stuff that's going to come in the future. Mm-hmm. We'll get to that more. I'm not spoiling that. But this is a really, really top-notch sound here. The songwriting's top-notch. I love Tom Werman with this band. Like, I know I used to give him a little bit of shit, mostly because of In Color. But I've grown on the production on In Color. It's grown on me over the years. But it's a great album. I'm going to give it a 9.5 out of 10. I think it's a step below the first album, a step below the third album. But it's a really, really good album. And I think it's right there in the Cheap Trick peak. I don't think it's much of a fall. And it's definitely better than In Color.
Wow. I'd say that the production's better than In Color. I wouldn't necessarily think that the songwriting. I think any of this stuff, I know that the first 3 albums, they pretty much had all that material. I think this is like one of the first ones. I know Dream Police is an old song that they reworked. And I can't remember the name of it, but I think a lot of these are probably newer songs. But Need Your Love, there was a lot of critics on this that didn't think that Need Your Love was all that inspired compared to the version that's on Budokan. I don't find that. I think both versions are great.
I do too.
Yeah, I think for me, This House is Rockin', Gonna Raise Hell, Need Your Love, Dream Police. They're some of the greatest songs are on this record.
Mm-hmm.
I think. I mean, it's one of their more, like you said, this is one of their most heavy records. I mean, side one's pretty heavy. You know, but you've got voices on there. You got a hit, which is what a great song and what a great piece of songwriting. And Robin Zander just sounds wonderful. Writing on the Wall's great. I Know What I Want. We finally get a Tom Peterson vocal. Tom, though, used to sing quite a bit when they were like in the clubs. He used to sing this. They used to do a cover of Velvet Underground track, Waiting for My Man, and he used to sing that. So it's kind of nice when we get a Tom. Is Tom the greatest singer? No, but I think for that song, I think he fits perfectly. It's a great, great song. The whole damn thing's great. Well, this is just a boring review because we really have nothing to bitch about once again. I give this... See, I have a problem. It's hard for me to really rank these because I think the cracks started to form on All Shook Up. Because when this was out, all these, we played these to death. I think this is just as strong as the first four. But I remember when All Shook Up came out and I heard it and I thought, well, something's off, you know. Now I think All Shook Up for me, I think has aged a lot better. When you look at it compared to like a lot of the material that came later, you really see the brilliance in All Shook Up. I know we're not on All Shook Up. See, I keep going on these tangents, Ryan. You gotta ring me in. Reel me in, man. Okay.
Shut up.
Okay, thank you. But I think that this is really the last really brilliant record. I would give this, in my book, oh boy. I agree with everything you say. I still give this a 5 out of 5 and a 10 out of 10. It's just one of my favorites. I mean, any of these first four, and hell, I'm going to put All Shook Up in there too. The 5 plus Budokan, they're just absolutely. Oh, here we go. We got to go see some of these things.
Yeah, I could definitely say that I could definitely give this album a 5 out of 5, but I think that the only reason I can't do it is just because I like that first album and Heaven Tonight so much more.
Yeah.
Like I think these are all excellent and they're about the same quality,
yes,
except for In Color, which I think In Color's songwriting is top notch. Just not quite the big sound that we get on the two albums after.
Yeah, you're faulting the production on it, but I think that the songwriting's just as good. Yeah. And like you said, you've gotten used to it over time, so it doesn't quite bother you. Oh, no, what did he say now? Steve Lukather played guitar on Voices. Yes, he did, Ernesto. Good point. Echo. I'm not sure what Davey's talking about there. The Budokan success did alter course after this. It did. True. Oh, look, it's Todd Evans. Dream Police is my favorite Cheap Trick album. I even like the cover. So, Todd, what do you like about what? God, we almost need you on here for crying out loud. I'm just curious. What's your? I can't. How can you have a chat in the chat? Now we need your ass on here. Yo, Todd. There's Davey. Let's see. Davey, love all the Beatles references, considering who is about to produce the next record. Yeah, of course. Of course, you know Cheap Trick loved freaking George Martin and the Beatles. I could see why they would hire him, of course. Sounds great on 8-track. Ernesto always has to throw in an 8-track reference whenever he's on here. Have you noticed that, Ryan?
I
All
do.
about those damn 8-tracks.
I appreciate it. I've never listened to an 8-track in my life, but I have always been curious to them because I do really love cassettes.
Well, back in the day, my buddy John and I, the next door neighbor had a paper route, and he had like a 1971 Chevy Nova with a Craig 8-track player in it. And we used to go out with him like on the weekends and help him deliver papers. And what was in rotation? The Cars first album and Candy-O, and I think was the first Boston album. I don't think he played any Cheap Trick, but I just remember just cranking and listening to first Cars albums all the time then. This has nothing to do with anything, but I remember those 8-tracks sounding great in that 71 Nova, Ernesto. I'll give you that. Heaven Tonight is a 5-star album. Dream Police isn't quite as good. I give it 4 stars. Interesting. I could see that, but I
agree.
4 stars isn't anything to sneeze at, that's for sure.
No.
My Music Corner. Just dropping in to see Grant talk about the wrong Cheap Trick album.
Well, you won't be disappointed on this episode.
The wrong Cheap Trick album? Is that a reference to something?
Tangents.
Oh, yeah, I do. I get all worked up. You guys know how I get all worked up on this shit. Ryan, a few lines or a few E's before the show. Hyper. Did you, Ryan?
No, I'm not like that.
He's not like that.
Really
Don't start rumors, Davey, for God's sakes. Echo, because I said Luke Cather played on it, and you already put it on the screen, dude. Well, Davey, I can't read your flippin' mind. Plus, there's we're taking the comments as kind as we go. Hell yeah, Ernesto, there you go. 71 Nova. Yeah, it was beige color and had like a vinyl top. It was nice. It was fun. I still remember how that damn thing smelled. Weird. But man, that 8-track system in it sounded good, and he would crank the shit out of it. I'll just never forget delivering papers with that 8-track, and it would click, click. It's funny. Oh, here we go. Todd Evans. I like the first 5 albums almost equally. Yes! In color, maybe less, except I would give the 4.5 star and 4 for In Color. Holy crap, 4 stars for In Color? Whoa. He might be on your page there, Ryan.
I can't remember if I gave it 4 or 4.5. I honestly don't. I want to say 4.5. I think it deserves that.
We'd have to review our own video.
Yeah. I would say regardless of what I said on that one, I would give it a 4.5. Yeah.
I know I gave it 5 out of 5 and a 10 out of 10. I know what I gave it.
Yeah, I can't do that, but it's a great record.
Yeah, I can do it. Easy.
And then 9.5 for this for Dream Police.
Mm-hmm.
Damn it, Davey.
Gosh, Davey. Exactly. It all goes back to Cheap Trick and Wasp. I'm surprised John didn't mention Wasp. Dude, too many 5 stars. Same for the Christmas record. Save some for the Christmas record. Oh, sorry. You can't have enough 5 stars. Davey, these albums are absolutely brilliant. Sorry. Some of the greatest records of all time. But anyway, yeah, there you go. The bonus tracks on the reissue, it's got like a live version of House is Rockin', Where the World Live, Dream Police with no strings, which is kind of cool. And I Know What I Want from 1988 from Spring Break, which I think is kind of funny that they put that on here. But Cheap Trick always sounds great live. It doesn't matter what era. If you really want to hear Cheap Trick, go see him live because it sounds like these records without the strings. Just saying. It's great stuff.
I like the strings, honestly. It kind of made them a bit unique when it comes to other hard rock bands of the time.
And it is of its time, 79 and disco. I mean, you kind of have that disco flavor on Gonna Raise Hell to some degree. I think Gonna Raise Hell is just absolutely brilliant.
Oh, definitely. I love that song.
And even when you see him play it live, it's just, I don't know. I wish I could really bitch about something, but I can't.
I would be curious. I would be curious what Rolling Stone gave this album a 3 for. I think that's absolute BS, but yeah.
Well, we can look.
Cheap Trick, no strings is my Tinder profile headline. That's what Davey said.
Let's look. I don't know if they go into it so much. Riding off the success of one of the great live records of all time, I would agree with that. The band made Dream Police, which drops a bit in consistency and sadly ups the sheen to the production end of things, though the title track remains a classic. So that, Rolling Stone didn't like that it was more glossy. I don't find it any more glossy than Heaven Tonight. It's just these two records sound very similar. So this has strings on it and keyboards. There's keyboards on Heaven Tonight.
I don't think it takes away from anything. I think that the album's still very raw. Especially on a lot of the more rockin' tracks. Like, I think that guitar sound is nuts. Like, I don't know. I have to disagree with Rolling Stone there once again because I rarely ever agree with them.
I know.
But
I'm just throwing it out. Some of these,
when
we hit some of these other bands, I'm just going to start putting a review up because a lot of these, I've said this before. The original reviews back in the 70s on some of these old 70s albums are they just slaughter bands, and then these records, you look at them in modern times, they age well, it's different. But they give Cheap Trick, In Color, Heaven Tonight, Live at Budokan, all 4 stars. Dream Police 3, All Shook Up 2, One on One 2, Next Position Please 3, and then a lot of 2 stars and stuff. They give Woke Up with a Monster 3 stars though. But it is what it is.
Yeah, they're jackadoodles.
That Rolling Stone record guide review sounds more like a 4-star review to me. Yeah, because I don't really. Yeah, it doesn't. But this review's not that. They're kind of looking at all the albums. It's not quite as extensive. I'd like to read a review back in the day, like when they just looked at one album instead of the way this is. Keyboards rock. I think Todd would agree with you. Keyboards do rock.
Definitely.
Jan Winter can play with the buses. What the hell?
I think he means they can get run over.
Yeah. Honestly, I give a 6. 6-star review out of 10? Yeah, keyboards rock. Wait a minute. Ernesto, what do you give a 6? You give Dream Police a 6 out of 10? Or a 6 out of 5? Look at this. This has become a rant by Davey on Rolling Stone.
I agree with it.
Well, I don't know if does Rolling Stone. Well, I think they still put out stuff. Who buys it?
They do. It's
Holy crap! A
Barely
6 out of 5 for Dream Police. Yes, Ernesto. I agree with that. Well, excellent review. I like that.
Yeah, great job,
Ernesto works for Rolling Stone. He might. Do we know Ernesto's real identity? I don't know. Tim Durling knows his real identity. But yeah, I agree 6 out of 5. I mean, I don't have anything else to add here. What the hell? Did anybody else in the chat have anything to add?
I just have one more thing
Go
to
ahead.
say about the cover of Dream Police and why I don't like it.
Yeah.
I think it's a very deceiving album cover.
Why do you say that?
Well, as we talked about, it's one of the heavier albums, but this looks like it's going to be a complete pop album. Like,
what does this look like to you, though?
Cocaine.
Davey, what's this record look like to you? Let's look at Dagmar again. There she is. I wonder whatever happened to Dagmar. Does anybody know?
I don't know.
I can't focus that close. You can't see any of the track listing or anything. But believe me, this record isn't a good record.
It doesn't look like it's a good record. It's a terrible album cover as well.
That's a terrible thing to say about Ernesto. It is true, Davey. You shouldn't say bad things. Ernesto comes on this channel all the time.
Yeah, I wouldn't ever wish him being a Rolling Stone writer.
We could invite Ernesto to the show. Ernesto, would you come on? We need to have you on a show. You're on here so much.
Yeah.
Would you come on a show? They don't pay that well.
I believe it.
It's not a 6.5. It's not Smiley Smile. Whoa. Yeah, I don't know about that. I think this might be a better record than Smiley Smile. I know you guys like Smiley Smile, but...
Oh, it's a better record than
of course.
Smiley Smile. And I love Smiley Smile to death.
Hey, when he said 6, it seemed like it was out of 10. No, I know what come on, man. I know what he's talking about. Yeah, one of these days. Ernesto, get your ass on here. I talk too. What do you mean you talk too much?
We got to get you on here.
Do. That's all we do. You need to come on here. We always spot off all what we're going to promote. Pick something. We'll have you on. It's no big deal.
Yeah. You're welcome to mine too as well, Ernesto.
Of course. Well, shit. I don't see any more comments.
We got one.
You got one?
It says BM Bolt said, "Are you gonna do a show on Cheap Trick soundtrack songs? Maybe some of their rare tracks as well."
Yeah, we need BM Bolt on here too. You and Ernesto both need to be on here. I wasn't thinking of doing that, but I think I'd like to do a show with, like the B-sides and the soundtrack songs and the rare tracks. Yes, I want to do that. I think Ryan and I could make that happen after we're done. Because they had so many great tracks and weren't on anything. Up the Creek, what a great song. Reach Out off the Heavy Metal soundtrack. Jesus.
Great stuff.
Davey, talk too much is kind of the job, Ernesto. Oh, God. I'd love to see Ernesto on this show. Invite is open on my channel, too. Exactly. Mighty Wings. Mighty Wings is awful commercial. Wasn't that on Top Gun? Though it is appropriate for now. It is appropriate. I might have to re-listen to it. Now you've got me, being Bolt's got me all worked up. I'm going to have to go listen to those. Hang on. Let me go get this so I can show people those CDs. Since we're, talk, Ryan, you talk.
Say Anything. That's such a great movie. I've always been a big fan of it. Yeah, I think this would be a really good idea to do some soundtrack songs as well. Because they did have a lot of great ones out there. And so here's Grant. I'll shut up.
These, if you're really hardcore Cheap Trick people, I think these came out for Record Store Day and all that, but you've got to get these epic archives. If you've seen those, I mean, this is on, Real Gone Music, but it's got the studio version of Lookout on it. Oh boy, the instrumental version's on here. God, this one's not as great because a lot of this that's on here were on like the bonus tracks on the remastered CDs, but it's still worth getting. The liner notes are great. Bunny Carlos does a liner notes on these. Ooh, well, I took the cover off. That's what the CD looks like. Looks like the old Epic logo. But I mean, it's got Bunny Carlos is doing all the liner notes, and they go into each track. It's just freaking great.
I need to get those.
And then
honestly, I have a lot of CDs I need to get this for this series. My collection's not as complete as I would like it to be.
This is these are a must-have. This is volume 2. This has got the spring break. How about this, you guys? The spring song Spring Break. Spring Break's on here. Dancing the Night Away, Saturday at Midnight. Reach Out's on here. I Must Be Dreaming from the Heavy Metal soundtrack. What a freaking great song that is. Everything Works If You Let It, which is the single versions on here. Way of the World from the live from the LA Forum. Oh Boy, the vocal version of Oh Boy's on here. And the song Loser. Has anybody heard the song Loser? Freaking, they used to play that back in the early 70s and the middle 70s. Loser's a great track. It's on here. But this has got, remember I talked about those demos they did after Tom Peterson left, like in 1980, and they got Jack Douglas back, and they went to the studio and they were going to put like these tracks out to see if they could get like a publishing deal or something. So, they could sell a song to whoever, Frank Sinatra or Brian Wilson, for God's sakes. But some of the tracks from this session were the Day Tripper, such a good. Did they do Day Tripper? I think they did, and they dubbed the live audience stuff on there. But Such a Good Girl, Take Me I'm Yours, Oh Boy, Loser. Those are some of the tracks. They even recorded more. You can go out on YouTube and there's a like a bootleg or something that someone's compiled that's got all of them. If Cheap Trick would have just put that out as an album, as a Jack Douglas production, it would have been great. But this one's volume 3. Same deal, Bunny Carlos liner notes, But this has got Up the Creek with the a cappella intro on it. Little Sister, which is the alternate, which is the Jack Douglas mix. She's Got Motion, which is the Jack Douglas mix. And then it's got Tonight It's You, How About You, alternate version, Mighty Wings. This has got all kinds of stuff. It's got Big Bang, which is from the Japanese version of Busted. Either way, these are all a must-have. That and that box set that they put out. God, it's so freaking great. Say Anything soundtrack. Oh, okay. Rock and Roll soundtrack threes. That's right. The rock and roll tracks are on the box set. Sex, American, Cheap Trick. Those tracks are on there. But those three songs on it were all recorded at the same time, like with the Jack Douglas stuff. I think. I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong. In Your Eyes. What the hell? What is he up to? Some good stuff.
Say anything.
Oh. Heavy Metal, the best John Candy movie. Possibly. I'm a loser, baby, so why don't you kill me? Day Trippers on... Yeah, it is.
I love that version.
Yeah, but all those, like I said, all those Jack Douglas demos, they acted like a lot of those were old songs, but they weren't. They had just recorded them.
Mm-hmm.
Did anyone ever put out a Cheap Trick tribute album? I think they did.
Yes, we looked this up, I think maybe in the last episode, and I found a couple that were out there that had a bunch of weird artists on it. It looked kind of interesting. If you go on like Amazon or whatever it was, I just Googled it. I found a few.
Yeah, I can't find it.
You could check it out.
You put me on the spot. I can't find it. Performance anxiety. I think that's what you call it. But they did. But I've never heard it. I don't know what it sounds like. Has anybody ever heard? Anybody else here have heard the Cheap Trick tribute record? Where's Todd? Todd's probably has it, for God's sakes. I don't know. Anybody else have anything to add? How long have we been going? An hour.
Yeah, I'm pretty chill, man. I don't have anything else to add.
I don't have anything else to add either. Do you have anything that... Oh, more. Here we go. Cheap Dream, Cheap Trick tribute.
Yeah, that's it.
Raven did He's a Whore on a limited edition covers album. Oh. Raven. We just talked about that on the Obscure Album Show, which is available on YouTube. Anytime you want to watch it, it's there. So you can review.
For sure.
Well, do you have anything you want to plug? You might as well plug it. Plug it.
Yeah, sure.
Plug it right.
All right. So I got a channel on YouTube. I have a Facebook and Instagram. Technically a Twitter, but I don't do a whole lot on that. It's all titled Ryan's Final Destination. So we talk about all different kinds of music, from rock, metal, funk, jazz, punk, etc. Pretty much everything, except for country and rap, essentially. Although we maybe
I was just thinking, we talked about doing a funk thing a long time ago. Well, a couple months ago. It's all relative. We never did do that funk thing. We need to talk about that.
Well, we did Sly and the Family Stone, but we should.
Even more. You know what I mean? That's
I would be
just
down.
One thing.
Yeah.
We'll
definitely chat some more about that.
All right. Anyway, go ahead.
So, some things coming up on the channel. Tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern, there's an Iron Maiden video. It's called Our Dream Set List. It's going to feature Ryan Murphy from Rush fans, Todd Evans, John Clauser, a couple of Ryan's friends. That's going to be a really fun episode. We're each going to pick 15 to 19 songs, no lot more than a 2-hour set each, and that'll be really interesting. And actually on July 2nd on John Clauser's channel, My Music Corner, we're going to be doing an Iron Maiden video as well, where we talk about our top 3 favorite album openers from the band. But back to my channel, July 5th at 8 p.m., I have a video with Davey and Armando. We're going to be talking about Prince and doing our best of compilation. We're each going to pick 5 songs from Prince that we think a beginner listener should check out. We'll have a 15-song best of compilation. On July 9th at 8 p.m., I'm going to be chatting about cassettes with Todd Evans, and he's going to give us some insight about the upkeep of them, how to take care of them, etc. So that'll be 8 p.m. on July 9th. July 13th at 7 p.m., we'll be doing a Judas Priest best of compilation. That'll feature John the Music Nut, John Clauser, Jack Toledano, Tyler Hagopian, I believe, is going to be on that. Todd Evans, Davey Gallagher. It's going to be a great episode. I'm really excited for that one. And then on July 18th, Marco from Contrarians and I are going to be talking about our Jimi Hendrix collections. So that'll be a lot of fun. That's July 18th at 8 p.m. I also do have a video that we're thinking of doing. Peter Kerr from Rock Daydream Nation and Armando and I were thinking of doing a Miles Davis video where we do Bitches Brew versus On the Corner. So that's a potential video as well. And, I do have a Patreon too, Ryan's Final Destination. And I'm going to be talking about I'm going to have some more exclusive content. We did a Q&A pretty recently on there, which was a lot of fun. Ton of questions from all the patrons. But let's see here. Some other channels to check out. LP Tremors, that's Tyler Hagopian's channel. Davey Cinema Flicks and Music Picks, that's Davey, who's been in the chat's channel. Sea Tranquility, Contrarians, My Music Corner, that's John Clauser's channel. Rush Fans, Rock Daydream Nation, Rock Fantasy, Tim's Vinyl Confessions, Rand Anthony Kelly, and Bicycle Legs. That's all I can remember right now, but there's a ton of great stuff.
I don't know how you can rattle this off, Ryan. It's just amazing.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. But yeah, essentially, go check out my channel, Ryan's Final Destination, and the Facebook, and the Instagram, and the Twitter. Just please check it out. We'll have a lot of fun. We have some great chats.
I don't know why we
I forgot.
Go ahead.
Next Wednesday, on Wednesday at 8 p.m., we'll be talking about the U2 albums Joshua Tree and Rattle and Hum on the ongoing U2 series, U2 Retrospective, which I'm really looking forward to. So yeah,
Killer.
Thanks.
See, Ernesto, that funk episode signed. Ernesto, do you want in on the funk episode?
You down with the funk?
I mean, we can talk about it.
Yeah, definitely.
Everybody's saying hello. Oh, this is such
hey,
a great.
Peter.
It's such a great community here. Bitches View versus On the Corner. Answer Jack Johnson.
I do love some Jack Johnson so much.
There.
I hope
we've got Ernesto. All right. Well, we'll be in touch.
Definitely.
Well, we'll have to talk what we want to do, but
yeah,
we'll keep you in mind. We'll hit you up. Hi, Todd. Hi, everyone. See, it's just a big love fest over here.
A big happy family.
All right, let me plug some crap. So we just did a panel discussion yesterday. Part 3 of our obscure album series. Now it's just an ongoing series. Everybody on it had such a great time. Now we're going to do a number 4. There are so many obscure albums we can talk about. We're just going to keep going. Why not? And I don't remember when we set it up, but that'll be later in the month. Beach Boys Love You episode, we put that up recently. That was with Ryan and Davey. episode 27. I'm really ranking these babies up. This was a great conversation. We really had a lot of fun. And this is just one in the series. This will probably take us like 5 years to get through all the Beach Boys records if we keep going. But I figure at this point we might as well just keep pushing on. Why not? Todd Evans and I just recently did our Matthew Sweet episode, Girlfriend and Altered Beast, so we discussed that. It was another love fest. We're doing records that there's so much love, it's hard to... we're going to have to just keep pushing on and get some really crappy records in here and have some fun. But either way, it was a great discussion, and we'll be doing the next two. We'll be doing Blue Sky on Mars and 100% Fun. And we're going to touch on Son of Altered Beast. We should have included that with this, but again, I dropped the ball. So that's how it is with me. Also, there's going to be a new series called This Is Power Pop that's coming up. And I keep having this graphic up, but I keep failing to put out some dates for this show. But it's coming up. And we're going to look at the first Raspberries album. I figure what a way to start a new show with the beginning of Power Pop with the Raspberries.
Yes.
Yes. So look for that. I'll probably throw out some dates in the chat. I can't remember who's interested, but I'll just throw some dates out and you let me know.
I'm very interested.
Okay. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. And the Friday night chat has been moved to Saturday. Whoever else can make it. Because I'm going to go down to see my daughter in Cincinnati tomorrow, and I don't think I could pull all this together. So I'm just moving it. I'll be here Saturday at 7 o'clock, whether or not anybody else, I guess Peter said he's coming. Whether or not anybody else shows up, I'll be here hanging out. So if you want to just talk music, talk some records that changed your life, just do it. We'll be here hanging out. It'll be fun. It'll be an open forum, so to speak. And I did put the link, I'll repost it, but the link to the chat, if anybody wants to come on, is on the Facebook post. Other than that, this is something that I've got to edit, but tonight, Reed Little and Todd Evans and I did a Doors show where we went and looked at our 2 favorite tracks from all the Jim Morrison records. It was quite a discussion. I mean, it was, holy crap, it went over, I don't know if Todd's on here, but it went like over an hour. It was pretty great. It was a wonderful discussion. So we did that. Look for that to probably be up. Oh God, if I can get it, maybe I'll get it edited tonight and get it up tomorrow. We'll see. But it was a lot of fun. Look, there'll be more in the pipeline with Reed Little and Todd Evans. Todd's always on here. So's Ryan. It's just like a club, you think. Anyway, that's what we got. The only other thing I can say is there's going to be, what's today? Today's what? Today's the 30th. There's more stuff coming up in July. But I think that's enough that I've plugged. You don't want to hear me yap about that all the time. Wait, we got 8 more comments. Holy crap. Right. Pretty much. All right, we'll see you, Todd. So much love, no Mike Love. Look at this. Todd Evans even on the Mike Love hate.
He's a bitch.
Power Pop, Big Star need to be on it. Yeah, we can do that. But I think we could do that on the 3rd. Let's just see how this first episode goes. Maybe we'll go every 2 weeks. But the whole goal with this Power Pop thing is to hit bands. I mean, there's a lot in the Power Pop genre. And I'm just going to throw stuff out, and maybe some of this stuff I've never even heard. And then we can just all learn together and just talk about stuff. Will there be some stuff that we already know? Yes. But we will of course, we'll do Big Star. How can you not have a power pop discussion without Big Star, right, Ryan? For God's sakes.
Exactly.
So we will be doing that. Todd Evans will be there Saturday night. You can come on. Grant and Peter is a show by itself. Well, it could be. You, me, and Todd so far. And we'll just see. It'll be fun. I love the Doors. Ian Astbury is the man. Wait.
Fucking baby.
There was a bar on High Street on the OSU campus called Mean Mr. Mustard's. And they used to have AC/DC Cult Night. All they played was AC/DC and the Cult. We should have AC/DC Cult Night here one night.
That would be cool.
I don't know. That'd be right. Ernesto, Saturday Night All Right. Well, Ernesto, you can come on. The link's on the Facebook page. So there you go, kids. I don't have anything else to rap about, but we can certainly rap tomorrow. And, it'll go off on a tangent like it always does, I saw you. Oh, you did see them? That would be cool. I don't think they toured all that long, did they? It was just kind of like
It was a little thing.
Where did you see him, Davey? Right, he was dead. You can't put anything past Davey at all. Quick, he's hip to most everything. Oh, there's Todd. Todd's supposed to be working on his Iron Maiden set list, but he's still rapping with us.
I need to work on it too. I haven't even started.
I got your message, Todd. Good. Because I'm using the mic off the iMac. I'm not even using my other Mac. I mean, my other thing. It's weird not to have it in front of me. Maybe I'll just use this. I don't know. All right, kids. I guess we'll wrap this one up. And I'll see whoever's coming on Saturday. I'll be here. The doors will be open. And then Ryan and I will discuss the funk thing, and we'll figure out something. We'll let everybody know in the chat what's going to happen. So,
sure.
All right. You got anything else, Ryan?
Check out these albums. They are masterpieces.
Yes. They are masterpieces.
You have not lived your life the fullest until you've heard Heaven Tonight.
Well, it's great. It's great. All right, guys. Well, we'll see you. Good night, and we'll see you later.
See ya.